Nothing can really match that feeling in games when you emerge from a dungeon or a cave, seeing a wide open world stretch before you, with untold adventures waiting for you, enticing you to pick a spot on the horizon and wonder about all the amazing things you'll encounter on your journey over there. Open world games really are the pinnacle of gaming, with elements of so many games in them, with roguelikes, survival games, souls-likes, fantasy tale reimaginings, indie gems, magic badassery, and letting you live out your Star Wars criminal fantasies. There are some truly fantastic ones coming out this year, and I guarantee we have at least one on this list that will have you drooling over it more than a dog at a barbecue festival.
But the world here belongs to the syndicates.
Now let's kick this list off with one I never thought would actually ever come out: Skull and Bones. It's finally on the horizon. After nearly a decade of delays, Ubisoft's long-awaited burden, Skull and Bones, is set to make its debut in early 2024. Uttering those words almost feels like tempting fate, given the game's notorious track record for postponements. The 13th of February will tell us whether Skull and Bones can transcend its current status as a perennial punchline. Now, on paper, the concept of Skull and Bones made perfect sense upon its initial announcement. Riding the wave of the immensely popular ship combat in Assassin's Creed Black Flag seemed like a surefire success. Little did anybody anticipate that, since the game's unveiling, it would undergo overhaul after overhaul, and the multiplayer-focused gaming landscape of the mid-2010s that it focused on has given way to the live service dominance of the 2020s. Now, you still get to command pirate ships, engage in battles and plunder loot, with a single-player campaign that has a multiplayer component where you vie for control of disputed waters. Now, even if it just replicated much of the naval combat from Black Flag, I would happily shelter in that gaming cove for a long time. However, at this juncture, it's understandable if Ubisoft simply just want to get this ship in the water, even if it topples over when it's launched. Nightingale. Nightingale, an upcoming open-world survival game where wearing the right tweed coat and hat for a ball is just as important as swinging an axe. So grab your Mary Poppins umbrella and jump into a world that's a mashup of Valheim and Dishonored, with a roguelike element where you can control what worlds are created. In the alternate reality, humans have coexisted with magical beings known as the Fae for centuries, and the city of Nightingale houses portals that act as gateways to various realms. Tragically, these realms have been ravaged by an event called the Pale. Survivors, scattered across different dimensions, are now striving to return to Nightingale, believing it to be the only refuge. Encounters in this alternate world involve facing Lovecraftian-like hostile wildlife or huge interdimensional entities residing between realms, such as the Sun Giant. Violence is not always the answer during encounters in the world of Nightingale, but you're going to have some good bartering skills. Players can present an offering to appease something like the Sun Giant so he doesn't stomp you like a bug. But if he doesn't like the piece of junk you just tried to pawn off on him, you may be in more trouble than when Jack got to the top of the beanstalk and said, "I'm sure a quick look inside that castle on top of a cloud won't hurt." Triumph over many challenges and you can get realm cards, instrumental in unlocking new dimensions through buildable portals. These realm cards come in various types, allowing you to determine the world's biome and appearance and influence the wildlife there. We were lucky enough to get a behind closed door look at Nightingale at Gamescom, and while it certainly needed some polish, the co-op survival gameplay looked fresh and familiar in all the right ways. It had hints of Valheim, Rust, and even base building reminiscent of Fortnite. We can't wait to get our hands on it properly when it launches into early access on PC at the end of February. Pacific Drive. Pacific Drive is a truly unique experience, a survival game with a twist, where players navigate the Pacific Northwest of America, where your main tool is an old station wagon. It's like a gritty reimagining of a Ghostbusters game. While journeying both by car and on foot, your mission is to evade perilous creatures and anomalies that try to impede your escape from the hazardous Olympic exclusion zone. Pacific Drive places significant emphasis on customizing and enhancing your vehicle, but unfortunately, it's not like Pimp My Ride, where I expected to be able to install a barbecue coffin. It's more like installing mods just to keep you alive, like crystals in front of your lights to give them that extra bit of sparkle in the dark. The station wagon is not merely a means of transport, but is the only thing keeping you alive, and you'll end up caring for it like one of your own twisted metal children. It stands out as one of the most unique games on the horizon this year, presenting a fresh take on the well-established roguelike genre. Rev your grandad engines, Pacific Drive is set to launch on February 22nd on PC and PS5. Dragon's Dogma 2. Do you like Baldur's Gate but want it to be less turn-based and have a touch of Dark Souls about it? Well, say hello to Dragon's Dogma 2, where the game starts off nice and easy by having a dragon pluck your heart out with its nail and eat it in front of you. It's also got colossal monsters, expansive landscapes, a plethora of weapons, character builds, and bustling cities awaiting exploration. Like the first game, you can climb giant creatures in order to take them down, just like in Shadow of the Colossus. It's a risky maneuver getting so close, but you can always get one of your pawns to do it so they get squished instead. If you're not familiar, pawns are basically companions, teammates, meat shields in the game that you hire from another world. They have different abilities, stats, and features, and as you progress through the game, you'll be able to chop and change depending on what you need in your party. You can also create your own pawn if you want something specific, and this time pawns will have more personality, be able to help you with things like giving you a boost to climb a ledge, and help with directions when you inevitably get lost in this massive, amazing open world. The combat system seems largely unchanged, encompassing both light and heavy attacks, along with a set of 4 skills or spells that you can activate. The novel addition is the Vocation action, a distinctive feature tied to the character's specific job, granting fighters a block, tricksters the ability to summon illusions, and thieves get a dodge. In addition to conventional swords, the game introduces a diverse array of magical options featuring massive spells and a bow that launches mystical homing arrows. Huh, well, this is weird. The last 2 games came out on the 22nd of February, and when's Dragon's Dogma 2 coming out? 22nd of March as well. That's a really weird coincidence. Alright, let me just check when the next game's coming out. Oh, you've got to be f***ing with me. Rise of the Rōnin, March 22nd. Another open world game seemingly unable to come up with an original release date other than the 22nd is Rise of the Rōnin, exclusively for PS5 by Team Ninja, coming out on the 22nd of March. Team Ninja are renowned for their work on Ninja Gaiden and Neo. Their latest endeavour is an expansive journey unfolding in the war-torn landscape of 19th century Japan. Honestly, the Assassin's Creed fan in me is gagging for this one. As well as dueling with your samurai swords, the game offers explosive gunplay, and players can also fly using a wingsuit, letting you channel your inner Japanese medieval Batman to take enemies out. There are even historical characters you can meet and real-life events playing out for you to experience. It's also going to have a very engaging story, as this was an incredibly turbulent time for Japan. You're going to have to make some hard choices, which are represented in the game's karma system. Now, all I want to know is, can I cosplay as Tom Cruise and use a chopstick to stab a ninja in the eye? Black Myth Wukong. Moving across the sea to China, Black Myth Wukong offers a dark fantasy reinterpretation of the classic 16th century story of Journey to the West, and the character of the Monkey King, referred to here as the Destined One. The Monkey King's son Wukong was a mischievous trickster hero who mastered the arts of shapeshifting, cloud riding, and the creation of combat clones using hairs plucked from his body. Now, while we don't know how many of his abilities from the original story will make it into the game, they're definitely going to make this game stand out from every other Souls-like coming out in 2024. It still has that Souls-like element though, with unforgiving combat dynamics, healing being limited, and resting leading to enemy respawns. It also has epic boss battles against terrifying creatures from Chinese mythology. Yet, it introduces a unique twist on the Souls-like, as players embody a nimble monkey warrior armed with a staff, injecting a swifter pace compared to the more deliberate encounters of Dark Souls. Perfectly timed dodges trigger a time-slowing effect reminiscent of Bayonetta, and the game incorporates a stance-switching system akin to Neo, offering varied attacks, combos, and timings. Additionally, players can also harness cooldown-based magical abilities, such as turning enemies to stone or transforming into a more potent damage-dealing beast. This martial arts magical monkey misadventure is coming out for PS5 and Xbox Game Pass Day 1 on the 20th of August. Dungeons of Hinterberg. Are you a sophisticated gamer that likes to play in a smoking jacket while sitting on a high-back leather chair, bubble pipe betwixt your lips? Then you're clearly a person with taste, and the first amongst your friends to play the next hidden gem nobody has heard about. Well, have I got an open world game for you, akin to Hades and Hi-Fi Rush. Come closer and learn about the Dungeons of Hinterberg. It's got monster slaying, social elements, dungeons, companion buffs, puzzle solving, snowboarding, rail grinding, and riding tornadoes, which makes it a mix of Persona and Zelda. This title is set in a tiny little village in the Alps, which used to be a skiing and hiking resort, until 25 magical dungeons appeared out of nowhere. These dungeons start drawing in tourists and adventurers from all over the world. There's also a social element to the game, where you can get to know a companion well enough so that they pass on knowledge tied to a specific dungeon or area, or teach you a special ability, ability or type of magic that will help you succeed out in the wild. The typical game loop of Dungeons of Hinterberg is to wake up in the morning, choose an area to explore, hopefully complete a dungeon, and then in the evening, hang out in the village with other characters. In doing so, you'll forge friendships and relationships that can really help you in your adventures. Now, as we've given you the skinny on the next best indie game, and you've got pretty far in this video as well, why not subscribe by hitting that button down below? Go on, or tell all your mates that you didn't discover the game on your own. Fine, alright then, I don't have it in me to blackmail you. Dungeons of Hinterberg is coming out on Xbox and PC sometime in 2024, so wishlist it now to get notified when it releases. Hold on to your glowing swords, everyone. No, not lightsabers, that's the next entry. Glowing magical fantasy swords, because Avowed is the latest and greatest first-person fantasy adventure from the wizard behind Fallout New Vegas. It's like Skyrim 2.0 up in here, with spell-slinging showdowns, narrative pathways that diverge like a choose-your-own adventure book, and believe it or not, firearms thrown into the mix. Because who needs a wand when you have a good old-fashioned blunderbuss? All of this magical action wrapped up in a narrative world with deep roots that's nearly a decade old. Avowed is set in the world of Pillars of Eternity, a legendary RPG game that Obsidian have returned to for this modern adventure. But this time, the fog of war has cleared, revealing a whole new area to explore called the Living Lands, a place dripping with whispers of a nefarious plague that's not just content with our bodies, but has its sights set on our very spirits. However, you're not exactly going to be invited in with open arms, it appears.
People don't like you very much, do they?
Oh, for God's sake, all it did was fill her house with cheese. I mean, to be fair, it was blue cheese. It did end up stinking worse than a college dorm laundry basket at the end of a sauna party. But still, she overreacted. As for the release date, the Mystical Seers haven't whispered a precise date yet, but mark your calendars for 2024 and wishlist it if you're interested, as Avowed will make its grand entrance on Xbox Series X and S, PC, and of course, the magical land of Xbox Game Pass on day one. Get ready in 2024 to enter a medieval wonderland that's seen more battles than a seasoned gladiator's jockstrap. Star Wars Outlaws. Star Wars Outlaws promises an immersive narrative delving into the gritty underworld situated between the films of The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. At the heart of this tale is Kay Vess, an aspiring outlaw determined to carve a reputation amidst the criminal factions of the Star Wars galaxy. The gameplay of Outlaws unfolds across 3 distinctive environments. Players will navigate through cities and small towns, rubbing shoulders with both the criminal syndicates and corrupt Imperials. Player choice is going to be a big part of this game, allowing you to make alliances or enemies as you see fit. To gain favor within the Outer Rim, players undertake tasks for various criminal leaders, including the notorious Jabba the Hutt. Each interaction shapes Kay's profile with these characters, providing a dynamic narrative influenced by her choices and actions. While exploring, you can use iconic vehicles, including the speeder bike, or jump into your own personal starship to explore the universe as a whole. If you're concerned that this is going to be an empty universe, however, like Starfield, worry not, as Outlaws takes a more handcrafted and manageable approach to the open world formula that isn't procedurally generated, as the devs revealed in a recent interview. And in true Star Wars fashion, we have a cute companion called Nix, who I'm definitely going to have to buy the plushie for, and also get extremely mad if anyone vaguely shoots in their vicinity. So that's the ultimate list of open world games you need to check out in 2024. If you want to discover the best games, don't forget to subscribe to FGS and let us know what we missed in this list down in the comments below. Now, if there was a Halo battle rifle to my head, making me pick one that I'm most excited for, I think I'd have to say Skull and Bones. I've just been waiting so gosh darn long for that game, it's insane. I've gone back to Black Flag a few times just to get my fix. Anyway, I've been Tom, this is FGS, you've been gorgeous, and until the next one, love you, bye.
There she is!